Question 66. With reference to coal-based thermal power plants in India, consider the following statements. None of them uses seawater. None of them is set up in water-stressed district. None of them is privately owned. How many of the above statements are correct? Only one, only two, all three, none. So for this question, I have given an article from Down to Earth as the source. So as I have mentioned multiple times during the previous videos or previous sessions, Down to Earth is a very good source when it comes to news connected to environment, pollution, natural disasters, anything connected to flora and fauna, geography, all that source. For all such newses, Down to Earth is often, I have seen Down to Earth has often been referred. So I thought this article is the most appropriate one for this question. I will show you the link. Just one second. So this is the article. The article says it is imperative to improve water efficiency in India's coal-fired thermal power plants. So massive water withdrawal will not only have repercussion on the watersheds across India, but will ultimately interrupt the functioning of the power plants during the lean periods. So it's a very important article. It's from pollution category, and it was published on Monday, May 2023. So right before the prelims. So during the preparation phase only. So if you see, it's a long article. It has many important points. So it talks about the water consumptions. If you go back to the question, it's about seawater. First statement was about power plant using seawater. So if you see, the amendment also revoked the applicability of these norms on power plants using seawater. So there is multiple mention of power plants using seawater, and wherever there is water. The whole article talks about the water consumption by the thermal power plants and lack of availability of water, and power plants using seawater instead, and all such related issues. So if you have read about this article at least once, even if quickly, you would remember all those points. So more my point is, like, this article is even important for the mains paper. So you should be making notes from this so that you could write quality answers from categories like energy, reliable, self-sufficiency in energy requirements, and pollution, and something connected to switching from coal-based to nuclear, so advantages and disadvantages of thermal power plants. All these, from when you write some answers from all these from all these sections, you could use these points from this article. So it's not just for prelims. You could reading such articles and making notes from these articles will come useful for mains answer writing also. So yeah, that is my main point. And if you go back to the question, none of them uses seawater is wrong. None of them is set up in the water stressed district. That is also wrong. None of them is privately owned. So that is, I think that is not mentioned here, but it is a common. So I have list of power station. If you see, there are centrally owned, state owned, and private owned. And for coal, lignite, gas, diesel, and all, different split is given. So yeah. And if you see, the nuclear power plants, the state owned are 0 and private owned is 0, unlike for the coal based thermal power plants. So that is something that you could take a note of. And again, there is no diesel thermal power plant owned by central. The ones that are owned is by state and private. All these are information that you can just take note of when going through such tables. So yeah. and which has more when it comes to coal-based thermal power plant, which has more capacity, which central or state or private, what is approximate percentage, all this you can just take a note of. So yeah, this is a good article which discuss about all those things. So these are some basic information you should be aware, the how energy is produced in India and where it comes from, that all that are some basic information. So yeah, that is question 65. So that answers all the 66, sorry, that answers all the statements of question 66, I guess. Moving on to the next question.